you, everybody. Oh my gosh, this is fantastic. I love you guys so much. Now, I know I'm awesome, but this is just too much. Please, stop. Now, today it looks like the Détente is starting to fall apart. And this was the...
Détente.
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 Good.
This was the policy of reducing tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union. Now, that's pretty much just saying that pointing multiple giant nuclear weapons at each other is a bad idea. And I don't know about you, but I think that's a fantastic idea. Reagan, who has been against the
Not your homeboy Reagan. Governor Reagan.
homeboy Reagan.
Governor Reagan.
Governor Reagan.
Better.
Governor Reagan, who has been against the détente, has said, "Détente, isn't that what a turkey has with his farmer until Thanksgiving?" "Why, yes it is, provided, of course, your turkeys have nuclear arsenals. Which in that case, you must be on the cover of my new book, Farming, How Not to Do It. Chapter 3. My turkeys have nukes." Now, if you find yourself in this common predicament, you might want to go to your pig pen and eat some Napoleon, Snowball, and Old Major for Thanksgiving. But I know what you're thinking. Oh, a thermonuclear war, so bad. And those words were really smart to come out of my mouth. Didn't seem to fit. But it's okay. Let's look what we're up against. We have an LVT, a giant metal car, with armor and guns, and a track so that we can go on almost any terrain. And an optional flamethrower. I mean, pyromaniacs are going to have a ball with that, right? Which seems pretty cool, you know, but the Soviets have one in comparison.
Gee, isn't this nifty? It has wheels and a sunroof
For those days when you just want to go on the freeway and just let the wind blow through your helmet. And for the people that just cut you off, they'll never have to do that again, you know? Because you can just kill them with the gun that it comes with. But wait. Doesn't that defeat the purpose of an armored car? I mean, it already has a giant hole blown off the top. It's like saying, "Hi, enemy infantry, throw grenades into me!" And it will actually concentrate the death explosion. Now, the Red Army was all just like, "Seriously, engineers? Really? We need a roof." So the engineers were all just like, "Okay, here's a tarp. Here's the tarp. It will cover you perfectly from the suns and like UV rays and stuff." Okay, but what about guns, you know? Here's a doozy.
I mean, that thing is huge, right?
I have a friend, Freud, who might have something to say about that. Maybe they're overcompensating for something or something. But I'll tell you what, if I were to make a giant death robot, I know exactly where I'd put that. It has a 65-foot-long barrel, and it can shoot a nuke 28 miles. And its bore is 16.5 inches across. Because in Soviet Russia, the guns shoot you. Except every time it shoots, which is only once every 5 minutes, it has to recoil. The recoil breaks the whole damn thing. No, well, maybe they have a good plane or something. No, not really. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the frontline Soviet vertical takeoff and landing fighter, the Yak-38. What a name, Yak. Which flies about just as well as its namesake.
Now, the picture here is of it falling. And that's just it.
It has a bad tendency to fall out of the sky while mid-flight. How safe. Now, due to it generally sucking so much of its own exhaust, it can only carry about 1/10 of the weapon weight that NATO planes can. And it doesn't even have a radar. So, basically, it's like bringing an empty water gun to a tank fight. All this thing could do was pretend to shoot an enemy as it falls out of the sky. Pretend. And it has a stellar record. About 1/3 of these planes were destroyed by accidents. This was their main plane for aircraft carriers that hung out around Africa, just casually sipping sodas. Fun fact, the engine won't start off if it's too hot or humid outside. Oops. But in all seriousness, the Détente is coming to a close, and it started in 1970 with the Treaty of Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons and the Outer Space Treaty, and ending in 1980 when the Soviets invaded Afghanistan. One might even say the high watermark. It looked like it would last, but unfortunately it couldn't. But look on the bright side. Think about how bad it would be if the Soviets caught Nixon spying on the Communist National Convention. President Reagan also gave a speech in which he labeled the Soviet Union as an evil empire. Which had mixed effects. His policy of marching and exceeding the Soviet Union has been pressuring the Soviets, as they cannot match a sheer economic output of the United States. But it has also returned tensions back to their previously dangerously high state, especially when we consider the sheer destructive power of their new weapon, Zvezda. And if that's not terrifying, they have... Oh, hell no. Okay, I'm very sorry for making fun of you crazy Soviets. And if there's anything I could do to avoid going into a gulag for the rest of my life, believe me, I will gladly do it. In fact, if it weren't for that pesky Iron Curtain, I would totally have defected by now. Although, not being able to get any information through the Iron Curtain is a downside. For what is a girl to do with this propaganda?
Dum-dum, dee-dum-dum, dee-dum-dum. There was a turtle by the name of Bert, and Bert the turtle was very alert. When danger threatened him, he never got hurt. He knew just what to do. He ducked and covered, ducked and covered. He did what we all must learn to do. You and you and you and you. Duck and cover.
Be sure and remember what Bert the Turtle just did, friends, because every one of us must remember to do the same thing. That's what this film is all about. Duck and cover.
This is an official civil defense film produced in cooperation with the Federal Civil Defense Administration and in consultation with the Safety Commission of the National Education Association.
Hey, Bert, come on out and meet all these nice people, please. Oh, all right. We really can't blame you. You see, Bert is a very, very careful fellow. When there's danger, this is the way he keeps from being hurt. Sometimes it even saves his life. That's why these children are practicing to duck and cover just as you do in your school. We all know the atomic bomb is very dangerous. Since it may be used against us, we must get ready for it, just as we are ready for many other dangers that are around us all the time.
Yeah, that'll help. Maybe the Soviets will have a good one as well. This Soviet poster appears to condemn drinking snake vodka. Apart from its obvious stupidity of putting a snake in your own mouth, apparently it will choke you out and eat your baby. And that's all, folks.